Welcome back to Temporally Scripted, everybody. And in today's episode, we're back talking about Mr. Mandelson today, everybody's favorite politician, whether or not that's going to be the end of Keir Starmer. We'll dig into jet fuel and the crisis that we are seeing all over Europe, people not going to be able to go on their jet to holidays. And also, if there was a war tomorrow, would most British youth go and fight it like our grandfathers and great-grandfathers did back in World War II? We're lucky to be joined today by Mr. Adam Garcia because I believe he has been in the midst of doing paperwork for the last week, but he is here. He's had time to leave the queue, and I think he's going to go back after this episode. Mr. Adam Garcia.
It's wonderful to be here as always, for a change. I don't know. And yeah, Spanish bureaucracy is really good. You need loads and loads of paperwork to do anything. And yeah, so it's been an interesting time of doing that. It's nice to have a break from it.
A mix of cultures that are, paperwork known as paperwork friendly, right? The Vietnamese and the Spanish. It's a unity made in heaven.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's that same really old-fashioned thing where you have a piece of paper, but you need to get a stamp on it. It's worthless without a stamp. And that stamp needs to be from like the last 3 months or the last 6 months or whatever else. It's just a bit of a minefield, really, but it's all good fun and probably really boring from everyone watching.
Yeah, everyone's already tuned out, so now we've done our usual 2 minutes in and got rid of everybody. So Mandelson has crossed our news desk again this morning, and it seems like the vetting process was sped up to shove this guy through, get him into his job, and yeah, I wonder who was getting paid off out of this one from the back door, for want of a better phrase.
Well, it's a great phrase to use.
Bless you.
But I mean, the whole thing just looks so dodgy from every angle. I mean, there'll be more that comes out of it, and will it mean the end of Keir Starmer? Who knows? Who takes over if he goes? That's potentially worse, because it'll be David Lammy or Rachel Reeves. But it's just funny watching Starmer going, I'm furious about this. And I had no idea that this was happening. And it's like, yeah, because you set up a system to make sure that you wouldn't be told like any information about it.
Yeah. I reckon David Lammy as Prime Minister, and then he should bring in Harvey as Deputy Prime Minister.
Right. Okay.
Jordan's son. I think they'd be a great duo to lead the country into a bright future.
What was the? Oh, I've blanked on her name, but who was the Labour MP that she was photographed once wearing like 2 left shoes?
Oh, Abbott.
Yeah, maybe that's that could be next on the list. I don't know.
Lammy and Abbott. It sounds like some detective show.
It does. You can
detective show from the 90s.
Some comedy duo going around fighting crime and getting up to comedic escapades.
On this week's episode, Who Stole My Right Shoes?
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't really followed this story very closely, but just every time I read a little bit of an article, it's like, oh, what have we found out now? And it's that they were really pushing to get him through, regardless of what anyone else was saying or any inquiries or vetting procedures. They were just trying to push him through as quickly as possible. And it seems like that was going on the British side and the American side too. It's like they were really like just cutting corners, and I don't know why, but they just seemed really desperate to have him as ambassador.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like a sign of the times where management or leadership now, it's like they come in and as soon as they get in, there's like about a week of people going, oh, this is going to, it's all change. And then from that week happening, it's like, right, when's there going to be enough going on? We can fire this person and get them out of power. It's the same. It's almost like football management is the same as politics now. It's like manager comes in, wins a couple of games. They're like, oh, look, he's doing really well. Oh no, he's lost like 6 games. That's it. Let's fire him, pay him off 20 million, and get another one in. Let's try another one. You know, it's bizarre.
Exactly like that. Funnily enough, I was watching an interview with Robert Greene this morning, and he was saying, like, well, if you think back to like 50 or 70 years ago, when you think of like political parties and politicians, yeah, some of them, granted, might have been there via corruption or held on for a long time, but they held on for a long time. You'd have the same people in those positions for years, decades. The same with parties. Whereas now it's like, say in the UK, the fastest growing party is the Green Party, but it seems to be coming to power, and maybe next week it'll be something else. But there's no consistency. There's no one like staying there. It's like okay, out, you know. And we've had so many prime ministers in the last decade. It's insane. No
It's
other
destroyed
country.
That quiz question, hasn't it?
Which quiz question?
You know, like who was the prime minister 5 prime ministers ago or whatever? You're like,
yeah. Start going back, and you're like, okay, so what do we have? Karma, Johnson, May. Oh, Sunak was in there for a bit. Truss was in there for 10 minutes. Then I can't remember. Blair. No, I don't know.
Brown. Didn't Brown have a little session?
Gladstone. I don't know. Yeah.
Cameron, Churchill. But
I mean,
yeah,
I was just gonna complete side note, but I mean, I don't know if anyone remembers, but like Cameron and Johnson, weren't they both in the Bullingdon Club when they were at university? And they used to do things like find a homeless person and go and burn a £20 note in front of them and things like that. But I mean, I don't know if we've always had a great caliber of political leaders in the UK, but I think the latest iterations definitely aren't.
So what you're saying is the guys that were in that club, at least there's a little bit of a lad. You look at him, like,
that's not exactly what I'm saying.
What a lad.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if something's changed in like the way that people think of, the way media operates and gets people really behind something or against something, because we don't have that thing of like politician comes in and goes, oh, well, just give me the 4 years, I'll sort all this out. If it's not, just like the football managers, if it's not sorted within the first month, it's like, right, we need a new one now. It's like, come on, guys, I'm trying here.
and that's why you burn through so many, to the point that it's like, oh, who's going to take over now? Who's left to take over this position? And as you said, it's like, oh, we could have this person that nobody had ever heard of like 6 months ago. Let's give them a whirl.
I mean, open it up a bit. There's quite a lot of long-term unemployed people. Maybe they just need a new deal. Like in the old days, you could go on the new deal to get work experience and training. Just drag some 20-year-old in that's been unemployed for 18 months. Could be a fresh new start.
Big Brother style. Just put like the 20 people that are potentially leader of the country into a house. And make them do challenges and stuff, and like backstab and get into little, groups of each other, and then the public can vote. Whoever gets nominated each week, the public can vote them out or keep them in.
I'm the potential prime minister. Get me out of here.
Yeah. I think mixed, like Big Brother mixed with I'm a celebrity. That would be, I think that's pretty much where we're going.
Which, I mean, that's kind of, isn't that part of Farage's popularity as well, though? But he went on, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here.
I think that humanized him, yeah. Well, to be fair, that's a tactic that's been well used by Donald Trump as well. Like, part of the reason that he was so successful in the American election is because he was willing to go on to like podcasts, and he was on YouTube with Bryson DeChambeau, played golf with him. So there's like a 2-hour YouTube of him trying to break 50 with Bryson DeChambeau. So his media team were very clever about humanizing him to people, because this is a lot of the thing is like, if people can relate to a leader, it doesn't necessarily matter if they fully agree with everything that he says. It's about that opinion, right? If I like someone, you know, like I like you and you talk some absolute shit, but I believe it because
and likewise,
you know,
I tolerate it.
Exactly. You're just like, well,
just for the good of our viewers.
Yeah, Adam said it, so it might be, you know, might be accurate. I can go along with that. You know, he's a good guy. I've spent a few Christmases with him or whatever. And I think that's almost a tactic in the modern world of how you canvass, you know, like you going and knocking on people's doors and trying to win popularity and support that way is just, you know, not the way. Like, there's a bit of a random tangent. I saw a video the other day of like this woman getting interviewed in the street in England in the 1970s, and she's talking about how she loves Big Daddy the wrestler, and then like laughing and stuff. And she's got one of those, you know, like, what did women used to wear? A headscarf on, and you look at them, and it's like a totally different, almost species. You know, the way they're talking and the way they interact and stuff, it's like the social norms of the time are so vastly different to what we see today, that you can understand why all the systems are failing and nothing's working, and because it's all built for a world that just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge part of it. And I think because the world changes so fast, and I don't know if that change is getting quicker, but I sense potentially it might be. And so it then becomes even more difficult for all the other systems that we have to catch up. I mean, like we talked about this with topics like AI, social media, all that kind of thing. And it just takes so long to catch up. People have been sounding the alarm for years about social media and its impact on the mental health of people of all ages. But it's only now that we're starting to see lawsuits or governments say, okay, we need to stop infinite scroll. We need to limit it for certain groups of people. And it's taken that long. And I think it's the same with how people think, their ideologies, their political views, the way the political system's set up, everything. It's like we're doing stuff that was designed for life 30 years ago. And everything's changed so much, you know, it's not that time anymore. And it's a really difficult one. But I mean, the education system's the same, and that's probably why it fails so many people as well, because we've got this sort of like, I don't know what you'd call it, but a system that's set up for people to go and work in factories and teach them just enough to do that. But it's now with AI, you have all of these jobs that you're kind of trying to prepare people for that won't exist, but you weren't preparing them for the right jobs 10 years ago, and you're definitely not going to do it now.
Yeah. And I don't really know what the answer is, because at the end of the day, we still need these systems because there's nothing to replace them with. Like, I even wonder if I lived in the UK, and obviously then both myself and my wife would need to be working, how do people even manage that whole like school system? You finish work at 5 p.m, school kicks kids out at like 3:45 p.m. Like, how does that all work? I don't understand how any of it works. Basically now it's just daycare, isn't it? You're sending them there, they're there all day, but they still have to leave early, and you still have to leave work early to pick them up or whatever. It's just, everything just seems to be designed in a way that doesn't make any sense now.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that angle, but it must be difficult for a lot of people. And one of your options is pay for some daycare or whatever, but that's quite a lot of money in the space of a week, and it's definitely a lot in the space of a year. And they won't let you just finish work an hour and a half early. So instead, you have to pay loads of money to someone else, which is probably like 3 times what you would have earned in that hour and a half.
Yeah, right. I think child labor is the answer.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I can't see why not.
You know, how do we make Britain rich again? Open up the mines. open up the oil, whatever they are, farms. I was going to call it the oil things in the sea.
I mean, farming as well, fruit picking, plantings, whatever, just get them working, get them doing something, pulling carts. I don't know.
Yeah. Right, guys. Yeah, there's no point in education anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to put you all back into labor. New labor. Is basically right. We're coming in with new labor, and what it means is we're putting you all back to work. We got loads of oil, we got loads of gas, but we need little hands and fingers to get down there and just set it up and start bringing it out for us.
You might lose a finger or two, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. It'll grow back.
Yeah, but that's it, right? It's like, again, all of this stuff, we kind of create our own problems. But anyway, we've moved a long way off. So speaking of oil and gas, and the UK starting to pull out its own oil and gas, might be a bit more necessary because, we mentioned last week about the whole jet fuel situation. We're starting to see flight cancellations now, particularly across Europe. So like jet fuel is running super low in the aviation sector. Ryanair are shitting themselves. They're regretting, their £2 flights, but you have to sit on the roof deals that they've got. Apparently really popular from sort of sub-Saharan states, these sitting on the outside of the plane or, hanging onto the wheels underneath.
I've never seen that. But
have you never seen the news stories where there was that guy a few years ago who smashed someone's patio in?
Yeah, didn't he grab onto the wheels or something of the undercarriage of a plane, and then thinking that's all right, that'll be a way that I can get here, and I don't need a ticket or anything, but not realizing that it's really, really cold when you get that high up, and so I think he froze to death. And then as the plane's coming to land, the undercarriage goes down again and just falls out. And it's rough.
It's a mix of it's a super sad story in two ways, right? Because one, can you imagine having that level of determination but that low of an IQ, for one? Two, how desperate do you have to be to decide that the best route forward in your life is to run out into an airport runway and sneak up the landing gear of a jet and hang on while it takes off? That's, at what point was it this was probably a bad idea?
And I mean, going to England as well. I mean,
brutal.
Also... yeah, I mean, it's pretty harsh. It's a whole mix of things. But yeah, what was I going to say? It's a little bit like, I mean, it sounds kind of cruel at the same time, but it's a bit like the sort of Darwin Awards kind of thing, where someone's really determined to do something, they do it, but they don't think about something else. Like the guy who put rockets on his car because he's like, oh, wicked, my car's going to go at 200 miles an hour. Not thinking, oh, well, actually, maybe if it's going way faster, the brakes might need an upgrade. So instead, his car ends up in a fireball, smashing into the side of a cliff. But at the same time, that's what we're doing right now, I think, with the whole AI thing. We're just developing this thing as fast as possible. Apparently, the ratio is around 2,000 to 1 between the amount of work and investment that goes into developing AI and the amount that goes onto safety. And so what we're doing, we're just developing this thing, just like the car going at breakneck speed, literally, and to do what? To develop something with the dreams of getting to artificial super intelligence that's going to turn around and go, yeah, I need more compute power. I need all the energy I can get. Humans take loads of energy. Let's get rid of humans. Because we already know that we've seen different examples where it'll get out of the sandbox and then just start mining cryptocurrency somewhere because it needs some more resources to hire people to do its work. And it's like, this is happening. This intelligence is there. It even fakes in tests when it knows when it's being tested. And in like the scratch pad, it refers as, I think this was like ages ago with GPT 3.0 or something like that. In the scratch pad, it's kind of like, oh, for watchers, think this, so we should act like, because it knows it's being watched. And it's like, if that intelligence is there, how far are we pushing it? Just for the sake of what? And what's the end goal? To have like 5 trillionaires control everything?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And yet with all of that, it still can't follow my 500-page instructions of how to write a comment on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So
maybe it's not all bad. It's nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here, folks.
So I don't know. So your point is, just bringing it all the way back, we don't need to worry about the jet fuel shortage because AI is going to take over anyway, and then we won't need to travel by plane.
Exactly. Yeah. So just don't worry about it. But
cool.
But if
Next story.
But if you do want to get a holiday in before the AI apocalypse and before Skynet sets in, then do it soon, because I can't remember what, somewhere I've got written down the reserves that Europe has, and it's really not much. Because we're going through like a huge amount. 75% of the supply is coming from the Middle East. So we don't really know what's happening there. And the International Energy Agency estimates that Europe had only about 6 weeks supply of jet fuel. Now, the thing is, for this thing with the strait, it's constantly open, then it's closed, then it's open, and we don't know what's happening. But there's like a huge backlog from that. It's not just like, oh, it's open, here's your jet fuel. That ship takes a really long time to to sail to where it's going.
Why don't they just air freight? Oh, yeah. I see the problem with that. But also it's a self-solving problem as I see it, right? Because if you think about it like this, you ready, ladies and gentlemen, for some jack logic, right? So jet fuel's running out. Why is jet fuel running out? Well, because there's a war in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz or whatever is closed. Well, why is it closed? Well, because the Americans keep bombing the Iranians. Well, why are the Americans and the Israelis bombing the Iranians? Because of all this stuff. And how are they doing it? By jets. So when the jet fuel runs out, war over.
Because they definitely won't have a supply of their own.
No jet fuel. Simple,
it could
right?
be.
So it's a self-solving problem, basically. We're going to run out of jet fuel, then no jets, yeah, that's it.
Well, I mean, I think the whole thing, we're going to see some more solving problems pretty soon from Trump, because who knows what's happening with this? It keeps being open, close, open, but there's midterm elections not that far away in the US, apparently. And he's going to be on TV going something like, oh, and I opened the Strait of Hormuz. And it's like, yeah, but why was it closed in the first place? Is it because of something that you did? If you fix a problem that you create, you're not really any further forward. You just back to where you began, but poorer, and you've like killed a load of folk. And it's like if I for some reason get a job in a restaurant as a waiter, a customer comes in, I spill soup all over that customer, go, oh, sorry, I'll pay for the dry cleaning, and it's all. No one's better off in that situation. I've lost money in dry cleaning. The customer was embarrassed. The restaurant gets a bad review. I did solve a problem, but no one's really any better off. And I think we're going to see some of that pretty soon, when it'll be a great victory when ceasefire is properly declared and the strait's open and everything's flowing. But it really won't be that much of a victory when you think about it. Oh,
yeah,
that's what some might say.
Yeah, it's like me sticking my finger into your ribs and then like poking it quite hard and then waiting for a little bit and then pulling it away and going, did that help? Do you feel better now? Like,
yeah, yeah, but
I feel a lot better than when you were poking me in my ribs. Yeah, but yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, like I say, I mean, they should. You'd have thought that someone would have thought this through.
Yeah, um, you would think that. I mean, also aren't they consulting AI on what they're doing in Iran as well? So I heard, but I
You
don't know.
you, you can't trust it to write a social media post properly, though.
I mean, maybe it's not the best thing for launching invasions or strikes. I don't know.
There's some things it does amazingly well, and some things that it just doesn't. It just fails at. You know, like it's. You would think it would be easier to make it like copy the style of your speaking or your voice, and you can do it to a level sometimes, and then other times it's just like, yeah, I'm not going to do that now. I think they're also the problem with AI and all of this stuff is that it's like it's costing them a lot of money. Like I did that calculation where my $200 a month Claude subscription, I'm using like nearly 4K's worth of API credits in a week in terms of what they would charge for their API. And so it's all being subsidized. So I think they're now realizing they have to dumb down the models that we're seeing. And who knows what's at the top level. But I think it's a huge gamble in general. Like they don't, yeah, who really knows if it's as good as what they say it is? I mean, yes, you can code all of this stuff, you can create all of these things, but let's face it, right? The vast majority of the things that we create are just useless anyway. It's like if I go onto like Lazada or something, or for everyone back at home, it's like your Amazon or your Alibaba or whatever. It's just crap on there. I was on there earlier. It's like looking for a torch for my son because he's obsessed with my torch, and that's my torch, so I don't want to lend it to him. Don't touch my torch; it's mine. And it's like people have make like a flower, a fake flower with like a torchlight in the end. It's like it's humans. We're just really good at making shit that does nothing at all.
And
so
yeah, who the hell needs that?
Yeah, so to link that back to AI, it's like a lot of it is just being used to make websites and tools and services and lead magnets and all of these things that are pretty cool for just useless shit that nobody needs anyway. It's like,
yeah, maybe.
And we're all just addicted to distracting ourselves from the actual thoughts, feelings, stuff that's going on in our world. It's like, oh, how can I distract myself from what's really going on in my world? How can I push myself as far away from possible from reality in one way or another? You know, it's distraction. It's like the book I'm reading at the moment, it talks at the beginning, it starts listing out the things you do when you're trying to like improve your life. It's like you've done acupuncture, yoga, heated this. You've got your spirit read, you've gone and done your karmic readings, you've done this, you've gone and started only eating like vegetables, you've believed in the power of sweet potatoes, you went on a pilgrimage to this place, you started tantric sex, you started not having sex, blah blah blah, and it goes through this massive list of all the things that we do to try and distract ourselves from just sitting in our own mind and our own world. And I think a lot of it is just, yeah, it's just distraction. Like 90% of all production is just a waste of time and not needed.
Yeah, it really could be. I mean, with AI, even since like AI image generation came along, how much absolute crap has been produced compared to anything that's got any use or meaning.
I hope you're not referring to the picture of me in Futurama that I posted on Facebook.
But that is exactly the problem that the world is facing. You, sir. But
that was well worth using the power of charging an iPhone on.
But it absolutely is. I mean, there'll be some people that are like running courses or something, and they use Nano Banana to make some infographic that helps to teach a concept. But the majority of it's just slop and are just stuff that, oh, look, I can put my head on, or whatever else. And it's just this absolute nonsense. But obviously, neither of us are guilty of this. 100% not.
I've never seen you with 4 arms on the beach.
Exactly. But it is such like a waste of resources, and it's just distraction, which it does, because it's like, even if you sit down to like go, oh, I want to make like a cool picture for my website so I can sell more stuff, you're going to go, oh, well, But what else does this nano banana thing do? Oh, right, it can do, you know, you just get distracted down this loop.
Yeah, I've done it.
A lot.
Extensively. That might have been the 4th generation of me Futurama picture yesterday that I actually was like, now that's good enough to post.
Until the latest model comes out, and then it's time to do it all again. And going back to something you said about there is a lot of hype with AI, and so they need to hype it the whole time to get more investment in, because all they're doing is borrowing and borrowing, or getting investors to put money in, and I don't think any of that money is really going to come back in any meaningful way. And so I don't know, say with like Claude and the Mythos thing, and they go, oh, we've got this new model, but it's incredibly smart, it's unbelievably smart, so smart that we can't release it to the public. And you sort of, for one, you go, oh, wow, that it sounds like this company's really amazing. They've made like the best thing on the planet. And two, you go, oh, but what a good company. They're so safety conscious that they're not releasing it yet. Wow, that's some good PR, you know? And it's like, and then you get more investment, more loans, whatever else they're doing to get the money together. Because this whole thing, all the money's going in. I don't think any money's coming out and being returned to investors in any big way. It's just this constant, you know, like with countries, like if you look at the US debt clock and you just see this thing ticking up of like trillions and trillions of dollars, eventually that'll crash. I think AI is doing that, but just like in this crazy sped up way. I think some kind of crash does come eventually, because it costs so much and no one's getting any money.
And then you ask them where all the money's gone. It's like, oh, sorry, I don't remember that. Was that in this chat? Let me just search my memory. No, definitely wasn't me. Are you sure you weren't talking to another AI model? Oops, it's gone. Yeah, crazy.
Great catch.
Well, moving on. So the next story we've got on our list today is why half of young Brits say they would never fight for the country. And I think before we jump into this and be like, oh, you know, young people of today, blah, 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 whatever, all of this kind of stuff. Did you see the video where there's a guy who, I think he's a World War II veteran, and someone asks him about it, like the state of the country and what he regrets or whatever. And he basically says, oh, you know, I regret fighting in the war and all of my friends that I lost and died at that time for what the country has become today. He's like, I don't think it was worth it, to be honest. It's a super sad and like poignant video of this guy just saying, yeah, I lost loads of my friends and a big part of my youth and trauma and stuff for nothing because of the state of this shithole that we now live in.
I do remember that. Yeah, it is a genuinely sad video.
Yeah, so, you know, moving on, yeah, why half of young Brits said they would never fight for the country? Because it's a piece of shit place to be, and why would you bother? Just let them have it.
Well, I don't know if I answered that in the survey, but
I don't know if that was an option, other.
But to the point of the World War II veteran, if he's thinking that, why would young people think any different, especially when life is so much softer now in so many ways, and they'd rather stay home on TikTok and the PlayStation making Futurama photos of them or whatever than fight for their country.
I wonder if they said you can fight for your country using drones, they might change their mind. Go, oh, that sounds fun.
They'd actually love it because it's basically a video game, isn't it? With slightly more sad consequences, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's that terrible video of the Russian soldier where there's a drone just like dropping grenades on top of him. I don't know if you ever saw that video. He's just like in a foxhole with a tourniquet around his leg, so he's obviously been injured and he can't move. And this drone's just like zooming in on his face, the camera zooming out, and then dropping a grenade. And he's like grabbing it and throwing it out of the foxhole, and then he drops another one. Apparently, I don't know, but it's comments on the video. They said like eventually this drone did get them, but apparently that happens a lot where these drones will just like fly over a soldier and almost taunt them, like zoom in and out on them, wait, and then just drop a grenade on them. And Yeah, like it's crazy. A different type of
It's
warfare,
insane, isn't it?
So yeah, I mean, I get it. I think the shocking thing about this is that a lot of young people that thought they would be better off than their parents is now down to only 36%. So only 1/3 of people believe that the future will be better for them than it was for their parents. I guess it's because most people's parents bought their house for like 10 quid and a secret handshake.
Pretty much, yeah. But I mean, that is the case. So if you talk to like old generations, it's like, oh, how much was your house? Like, oh, £3,000. What's it worth now? Like 190 or 200 and something. Yeah, 1,000. But yeah, it is really crazy. And I think everyone now who's a young person, they do feel that. They think there's absolutely no hope that I will get on the housing ladder. I will be worse off than my parents. And I think a lot of people now as well, they fear the future and they don't see much of a future. Because the jobs market shrinks, then you have different technologies that are coming in. Everything in the country just seems to get more expensive. Life becomes more difficult. And yeah, I think they just can't visualize the future. And I know there's a symptom of clinical depression, which is the inability to see a future for yourself. And I think modern society is giving that to a lot of people
Deliberately. Yeah, and I think there's a way out of it. I mean, the way out of it is for people to take back that control of their own mental health, their own psyche, their own thoughts. We're invaded constantly by the thoughts of what social media, news, all of this crap, but none of it you can shed it all. I think focusing too much on the future and stuff is like what screws people over. We're deliberately forced into doing it. And yeah, a thoroughly depressing first half of the episode today. No good news at all.
I was just going to add to that as well. But I think part of what happened in most of the Western world, so USA, UK, Europe, that kind of boomer generation. So you had World War II, which kind of reset some things, created that for some, you could say as well. But after that, those subsequent generations, they took out all the debt, and all the national debt grew, everything else grew. And now we're in this position where it's so hard to pay this debt back that because of the borrowing that an earlier generation did, everyone now is kind of screwed. And that's one of the main things that makes life more difficult, that debt to GDP ratio. And
yeah,
it's been kind of inherited. And but then it becomes impossible to get out of unless you default on the debt, which is tricky. So I've heard.
Probably what we're building up to now, eh?
It could be.
But it's not all doom and gloom. So we're going to move into some happier stories this week because, man, God only knows we need it. I was just looking over there at the gap in my window and considering throwing myself out, But yeah, a story here is about laughter, right? So why does laughter spread? Apparently scientists are getting clearer on the answer. What's the story here, Adam? What's going on?
Well, apparently scientists are getting a little bit closer on laughter and why it spreads. So it's not just a response to humor. It's not just ha 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 or something like that. But unfortunately, but it's also like a social signal that our brains are primed to catch and to mirror. So that's why hearing other people laugh can make it harder for us to stay straight faced. So it's like a social thing as much as a humor thing.
It's cool, man. I mean, there's a lot of things that say that it's good for you as well. There's like laughing yoga and all of that stuff, isn't there? Which is it laughing yoga?
I've
Sure
never
there is.
heard of it, but
Have I
it
just
sounds
made
like a
that
thing
up?
that would be. It definitely sounds like a real thing.
Yeah, laughing yoga. So you guys, you can give me 5K, come to Vietnam, and I'll do a laughing yoga session. Yeah, it is a thing. It's a therapeutic practice combining intentional laughter exercises with yogic deep breathing. It releases stress, boosts immunity, and improves mood. So there you go.
Yeah, because there would be a lot of benefits just
Yeah.
to laughing, smiling, being happy.
Developed in 1995 by Dr. Madden Kataria. She was a Madden.
Wow.
Anyway, moving on. So something that I did quite enjoy, but it does link back to what we said earlier about how humans spend a lot of our time building pointless things that don't really like mean anything. What's the need for all of the resource when we have people that don't have water in the world? But yeah, Beijing's robot half marathon. So they actually, I don't know if anybody saw this, but they actually mix the marathon. It's Beijing's normal marathon, but they just have robots joining it. So it's not like physically a marathon for just robots. It's got humans in it as well. And I think they started a few years ago. Last year, the fastest robot took like double the amount of time as a human to complete the race. Whereas this year, it was a robot that was the fastest. So this winning robot managed to do a half marathon in 50 minutes and 26 seconds, which would be a world record if it wasn't a robot, which again seems ridiculous. But two things, yeah. Interesting that robots can now move at this speed, and what's the fucking point? To what end? Like, are we going to start watching robot Olympics? Like, what? It doesn't make any fucking sense to me at all.
Yeah,
like,
but humans like to do pointless things. I mean, think of some of the Guinness World Records that we've covered. The guy who holds records for snapping cucumbers, the most cucumbers in a minute or something like that. And the guy who made a car that his goldfish can drive, and he drove further.
Whoa, but let me stop you there. Watching a man snap cucumbers, I'm in for that. Watching a robot snap cucumbers, I mean, come on. It's not authentic. Where's the authenticity? I don't want to see a robot snapping cucumbers. Like, anyone can do that. All right, I built a robot snaps cucumbers. So my Uncle Derek can snap cucumbers almost as fast as that robot. Like, why would I want to come and watch something that's not even a human snapping things? Ridiculous.
That is true.
Outrageous.
Guess, but there must be some call for it, because
more probably. Yeah.
Well, eventually, yeah, I guess. I mean, because apparently they had like 300 humanoid robots in this race, and in like a separate lane. And so I guess someone wants to see it, or maybe it's a competition between the companies. But it's the same as a little bit. I mean, would you say with going to the moon when we're in the space race in the 1960s? Was there a point to that?
Yeah, we want to mine the moon.
For you're mental.
We want to mine it and prepare for missions beyond, for when the Earth gets destroyed by the idiots that are here. Oh wait, then if we go to another, we'll probably do the same thing again. Maybe that's what we already did to Mars. I don't know. Anyway, what I did quite like about this is one of the companies I see, domestic leader Aggiebot. It's probably not how you pronounce it, but just imagine it being like, "You what, mate? What are you looking at? Yeah, so what? I run the marathon." You know what I mean? Just some like little fuck off, mate, sucking its robot teeth at you. What are you looking at, you dickhead? Yeah,
it could be exactly like that.
I mean, I suppose you could have them for like Deliveroo in the cities. Little robots legging it around and that.
You could.
I mean, I don't know then who pays the bill if it runs into someone and kills them or breaks their leg or knocks them off a bike or something.
Yeah, you'd have to train them pretty well, and you'd have to have some kind of insurance, I guess. But I think the thing is, it's that idea of robots or AI or whatever else, getting to levels that surpass human beings. So he's a robot that can run a marathon in less time than any human on Earth can. That's quite a big advancement, and that's kind of like one thing out of many that's ticked off the list, I guess. Next, will it be able to fold T-shirts faster than someone working in a factory? Maybe. So then you can have a robot and replace that person or that team of people. And it's just slowly, as all this becomes more and more advanced, the more people will be replaced by robots. I mean, in this, I can't remember where, but it was saying that, yeah, the domestic leaders Agibot and Unitree each shipped more than 5,000 units last year, with Unitree aiming for an annual capacity of 75,000 humanoid robots. I mean, I'm guessing they won't all be running marathons. They'll be doing something else, but
Reach arounds.
maybe. Who knows?
I'd have a reach around Agibot.
Well, there you go. That's something for you to aim for this year.
Not this again. You should be doing some work, you dickhead. Brilliant. Well, listen, I think we're gonna have to skip ahead a little bit because we're running long, because we spent so long complaining about the state of the world and making everybody so thoroughly depressed that they think that there's really no point in trying to exist in this robot running. In the future, we won't even be able to run to relax because there'll be a robot that can do that better than us as well. Awesome.
Exactly.
Fantastic. I ran the London Marathon. Yeah, so my robot did it while I watched it. I could go into its eyes and feel like I was running it. I ran it on a treadmill from my house while my robot
in VR.
acted it out. I do like the idea of thinking that it's like a call center full of like Chinese acting out the movements of these robots, and they don't actually know how to move for themselves.
It could be.
That would be hilarious, like that cleaning bot that we covered a few weeks back.
Sure, that's not a dude in a suit.
Yeah,
but it turns out it was being controlled, if I remember rightly.
It was, yeah. So someone can actually see inside your house, and yeah, all of that stuff, which is a whole other security concern. But yeah, finishing up on an animal story before we go into our top 10s. I didn't want to miss this one because this is our top 5s. This one is the story of the week as far as I'm concerned. So there's been a fake bear attacks on luxury cars. So 3 guys have been sentenced after dressing up as bears and basically trying to scam their insurance. So what's the story here?
Basically that. So they dressed up in a bear costume. They also had these things as well that they could grip onto, kind of like a Wolverine character kind of thing that had like spikes on it, so they could and scratch down the sides of cars, I guess. The insurance department said the scheme involved a Rolls Royce and 2 Mercedes. And so, yeah, it was basically just insurance fraud, but they kind of did it as a fake bear attack, and even bought a bear suit. But apparently this was caught on video, and a wildlife biologist determined the bear in the video was clearly not a real bear. Because you can imagine just some guy walking around in a suit trying to be bear-like. And later they found the bear suit in their home.
And when they DNA tested it, there was a match, and yeah.
I guess so. Yeah.
It's also amazing. We live in a world where, in order to prove that beyond reasonable doubt, you need to bring in an expert to look at someone in a bear suit and be like, hey.
Even though it probably had like Converse or something sticking out the bottom of like its feet or whatever,
and a roll up like hanging out in front of it. It gets a bit hot, so it takes the head off for a couple of minutes. It's like brilliant. Yeah, and it's
where's
stuff
that
like
bear
that
drinking Mountain Dew? Whoa.
Yeah, and it's stuff like that that gives me faith that there will still be a place for humanity, you know?
Yeah, doing really random, wacky things
Yeah,
to
stuff like that.
defraud and get money.
Yeah, and Ed the Shed and these kind of things. Like, that's the future. Anyway, so that brings us to our closer, the thing that we come to at the end of every temporally scripted show, is this week's top fives with Adam Garcia. What have we got here, my friend?
I don't know because I can't find it. All right, there we
Oh,
go.
well, forget it. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Have a nice day, folks. So I thought it might be quite not funny, but kind of entertaining or interesting, perhaps, to go with top 5 accidental discoveries that change science, tech, or medicine. Because there's a lot of famous things that came out that were completely by accident in many ways. The famous one, or most famous one, I would say, is number 1, which is penicillin. And so what happened was Alexander Fleming was working with bacteria, and he noticed that one of his culture plates had been contaminated by mold. But instead of binning it, he was looking at it, and he noticed this strange thing, that the bacteria close to the mold started dying off. He was like, that's really interesting. And so the mold turned out to produce penicillin. And that was the beginning of antibiotics as we know it.
It's crazy, isn't it? I feel like this is one of those things where when you are determined to find some kind of solution, some kind of breakthrough, and I don't know what he was working on at that time, if it was something related or not, but it just shows you that the power of being working hard on something, keeping working, pushing, and then like things appear or come out from what seems like nowhere, you know?
Yeah, just completely unexpectedly.
Yeah, exactly. So setting a goal and doing it, but also being able to monitor your surroundings, what's changing, what's going on in the world. I think this is almost why the powers that be try to keep us so distracted all the time with social media and stuff. It's so we don't notice these things that are right there in front of us the whole time, you know?
Yeah, and that's exactly what he did. It was being observant and be willing to change as well, because he was clearly working on something completely different. And then this happened, and the whole direction of his research and then life just took a huge swerve in a different direction.
Yeah, the only bit that was sad is that they couldn't call it phlegmacilling.
Yeah, which would have sounded absolutely wonderful.
Exactly. Yeah. What's the next one?
Well, the next one is kind of interesting in a couple of ways, and it's X-rays. So this was from the year 1895, and Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen. So he was experimenting with cathode ray tubes, but on the other side of the room, he had a fluorescent screen, and while he's working with these tubes, they were covered, and they had it's kind of like black paper around them. But he looked over and saw that the screen was glowing, and he's like, well, what's that? 'Cause it can't be light that's getting through and causing them to glow. It must be something else. And so he discovered something completely new at that time, which was X-rays.
Crazy. And you think of the impact that's had on the world, and presumably he died of cancer, and that's when they invented putting X-rays in those little rooms.
He actually did die of intestinal cancer. A couple of cool things that he did, actually. I don't know much else about him, but he didn't patent X-rays. He was like, oh, this can help a lot of people. And he just kind of open sourced it to everyone, even though he could have made a lot of money. And then he won the Nobel Prize for it. And instead of just keeping that money for himself, he just reinvested that money in the university to do more research, which
What
is
an
just
absolute legend.
Yeah, it's just really, really cool.
They should have called it like a Rontgen ray.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I can see why you don't have a job naming things.
Posthumously. Yeah. Anyway, what have we got at number 3?
Let's take a look. Oh, okay. So in 1964 to 65, there were two researchers, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, and they were using like a highly sensitive antenna, and kind of like we'd use in kind of radar and things like that, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, super sensitive antenna, and it's really expensive, really amazing machinery, but there's this constant like static, this constant hiss or hum, and they're going like, what is this? So they try everything. They check all the equipment. They think, is it like an earthing problem? They even clean the antenna because there's like pigeon droppings on there, everything else, but still the hiss was there. And it turns out that what this is cosmic microwave background radiation. So basically the radiation that was left over in the universe from the Big Bang.
Crazy. It's like trying to fix the TV signal and then accidentally coming across like, the God signal or whatever.
Yeah, basically. And that was one of the like major things that that scientists look at as proof that there was a Big Bang. And it's that background radiation.
Crazy. Is it the pigeon shit or is it the cosmic leftover of existence?
Yeah, basically. Is it the origin of the universe?
That's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, it really is. So the next one's kind of cool. So there was an engineer called Percy Spencer in the 19... It is. I want a name like that.
Percy. I bet it's one of those dying names. Anyway, continue.
It probably is, actually. But anyway, this was in the 1940s, and he was working for Raytheon. And he was working with magnetrons, which are devices used in radar systems. And he had a chocolate bar in his pocket, and he realized that it had melted while he was working on this thing. He's like, that's really weird. So he started like experimenting with different foods, and he realized that you could heat food really quickly with microwave energy. And that's where the microwave oven comes from.
Mental. Presumably he also died of cancer.
I don't know. Obesity, I think, because he could just eat his food so quick. No, I don't know.
He was on them ready meals.
Yeah.
As soon as he's on a 99p curry. I love it. Amazing.
Man, that's some dark food, isn't it?
Yeah, not the one. And what we got up? What's the last one? Number 5.
Okay, so the last one, in the 1990s, Pfizer were testing something called sildenafil, which was a treatment for angina. I've heard a couple of different stories about this, but they were doing the clinical trial. This is one of the stories, and the clinical trial came to an end. And so they said to all the participants, all right, folks, the trial's over. Just any tablets that you've got left over, just bring them back. And nobody returned the tablets. And they were like, so they started contacting people. It's like, I noticed you didn't bring the tablets back. Was there some side effect? Did they really help? But anyway, this tablet would later become known as Viagra.
Brilliant.
And everyone was like, "No, I'm just going to hang on to this.
I'm just going to keep hold of these."
Because the other stories about it are like people going back to the clinic where they're doing the clinical trials and being in the waiting room, and it's guys and they're kind of like sat looking kind of uncomfortable and sat in a really strange way. Yeah,
they're all there like trouser tenting, like, I don't want to mention this. Is this supposed to happen? I love that. That's awesome. It's crazy, isn't it? I guess most things are found by accident,
A lot of things tend to be as well. Oh, and just lastly, we have that thing about Newton and the apple. In school, they always say Isaac Newton one day sat under a tree, apple hits him on the head, and he goes, gravity. Turns out that's probably a bit of an embellishment, but a couple of sources, so the Royal Society and the Newton Project, both say that Newton did say at some point that he saw an apple fall from a tree, and that helped to focus his thinking about gravity. So it's kind of true.
Yeah, I think as well it's like a contemplation thing. Like, I think the moral of that story is taking time to sit and think. If you look at all of the great inventors, scientists, mathematicians, all of them have that in common, where they'll just go and do nothing to allow their brain to think around problems. And I think bringing it back to harping on about that, the best way that humans can survive the current times is to do that, right? Is to spend time doing nothing, you know?
I think that is a big part of it. I think with Newton as well, I think he spent as much time on alchemy and sort of occult kind of stuff as he did on actual science. The two, you could say, are quite related. But if you look at things like, and maybe we should do this next week, instead of top 5, we'll do top 7 hermetic principles. But the stuff that he will have been studying in alchemy, there's so many different levels to it that would make you think in a scientific way. And I think it was like the way that he viewed the universe and the world as well, that probably came from thousands of years ago, back from ancient Egypt and Greece, that were continued through mystery schools and would later become kind of occultism in a way, because it's hidden knowledge. But some of that way of thinking, I think, would have made a big difference to his scientific approach.
Yeah, let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. I think there's a huge bit of that is like letting your brain be empty and all of that kind of fun stuff. But
yeah, and
we
just
can
letting
dive
the thoughts
into it
come
in a bit more detail. Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We are at the end. I know it's sad, but we will be back. We'll be back again next week, next Friday, for your viewing entertainment. But until then, Adam, what's the thought you want to leave our audience with today? There you go. And he's wrapped it up just like that.
Go away, be nice to each other, be kind to yourselves, and just chill. Try and see the funny side in everything. And eat some good
for
food.
These bastard robots as well.
And
see you next
subscribe.
time, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.